Peace and love, you guys. Salute. Salute to all my good people. I wanted to share a thought that I had, and this is surfacing pretty much because of something that I had been coming across on social media, particularly on Twitter. And it's something that I find to be very perplexing. I'm not sure why this perspective is now kind of permeating across social media right now. I don't really understand what the basis of it really is, what the root and the foundation of it really is. And I guess I wanted to try to posit a notion on its nucleus and what the supposition involved within all of this is trying to cultivate within this particular dialogue. So pretty much word on the street right now, if you guys aren't aware, is that Boots is ducking Virgil Ortiz. And what I'm left wondering, you guys, is, what is really befalling the boxing game? Like, what's really occurring here, you guys? I mean, you can be called a duck for just about anything. It really doesn't matter. The details, the lack thereof of details, nothing. It's just thrown about completely. And on the contrary, you have those who are blatantly ducking people by all definition of the term, who aren't even being, pat on the shoulder about their actions or non-actions. It's insane to me. Is this the motherfucking Twilight Zone, you guys? That is going on in boxing? What state are we in as far as mentality within boxing and this entire charade that we see falling before us? Now, I see a lot of videos passing along Twitter, showing Boots in his post-fight interview. And I guess this is being used as, a form of evidence, if you will, exhibit A out in these streets. Like, oh, well, you see, in this interview, Boots, motioned towards moving up to 54. And this is, I guess, the justification of his alleged duckery, right, against Virgil Ortiz. But, yes, after his win with Karen, he took to the microphone while he was still in the ring. And, he mentioned about the 54, blah, 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 during that interview, alluding to 54 and moving up and that it's time to move up and stuff like that. But in my view, it seemed to me that he was just dismayed by his performance, and mainly because of the fact that he did not get the knockout against Karen. He kind of was like, oh, well, I didn't get the knockout and everybody was anticipating a knockout in this fight and this rematch and stuff like that. I'm a little bit disappointed. Oh, perhaps it's time to move up. Let's not forget, he had just ended the fight. They are still in the ring and all of these emotions are going through him and he's still off the high of his performance and everything. And of course, he says whatever he says. That happens with fighters. They say a lot of things, perhaps that they can recollect on and say, oh, why did I say that? Because I don't necessarily feel like that now, what have you. I think that was the case with him in that particular instance where he had mentioned the fact that it was time, quote unquote, to move up. Now, I think we're all privy to the fact that Boots has long held the fact that before moving up to the 154-pound division, his initial goal, was to become undisputed at 147. Right? This was something that he had stated very plainly on multiple occasions that he wanted to accomplish. Right? However, since signing to Eddie Hearn earlier this year, we've heard some pretty contradictory thoughts, on the part of Eddie Hearn, right? Eddie Hearn has posited that he wanted to see Boots at 54 pretty much sooner than later. And he was quite adamant during quite a few interviews about those types of desires and intentions to see Boots claim territory at 54. I think everybody can agree to that. We all want to definitely see Boots, because that's where the heavy hitters are. We want to see him at 54 with those guys. But I'm wondering, why the persistence on the part of Eddie Hearn? Why is there this kind of incessant reiteration of, the mentioning of 154, pushing Boots at 154, him fighting at 154. What is that? Why is there a rush on Eddie Hearn's part to have Boots go to 154? I mean, I get it. Like I said, the mega fights are all at 154. A lot of them. The steep competition. I mean, the biggest names, the Terrence Crawfords, the EJs, it's replete. 154 is replete with beautiful warriors, right? That he could fight against, right? Competition is thick in that division. But, at the same time, we got to look at things realistically. Boots only just defended his title for the first time at 47 against Karen. The fight that he just had a few weeks back. That was his first title defense. Boots, additionally, has never taken a belt off of the waist of a champion, which is something that every real warrior wants to do. They want to take the head of the king. They want to take it. They want to take the head, right? They don't want to just be, elevated or simply, given it or allotted the belt. No, they want to take it as well. Okay, so Boots was, of course, allotted that IBF title once Bud Crawford moved up, which was all fine and dandy, nothing wrong with that. But every exemplary warrior wants to sharpen iron with another notable contender. They want to go to bat. They want that exchange so that they can claim the supremacy of the division. Boots hasn't gotten a chance to do that at 147 yet. So if he hasn't even simply done that initial work, then how the hell does it make sense for him to go to 154 to try to reign supreme when he hasn't even reigned supreme at home? Don't you got to claim turf in order to know what that's like? How is it possible that one can call themselves a hunter before going hunting for high-level prey? It just doesn't work like that. As much as I want to see Boots go up to 154 with all the big dogs and stuff like that, because I consider him a big dog himself, he still has unfinished business in his weight class. He's got champions all around him running freely, just running him up, just free and happy and frolicking. Should nobody be happy where he's at? Everybody's on smoke time where he's at. He can't be, just leaving people all happy and free and peaceful. No, he gotta be a terrorist at 147. He gotta let people know that at any moment it's up out here in these streets. It's on sight. You feel me? Like, you can't be on your block and people on your block treating you like some herb and you just bypassing all the smoke there, but you think you're going to go to some other territory and claim space over there? Nah, they got to know that you mean business where you at, and that is going to vouch for you wherever you go out in the world. This is precisely the case with Boots. This is the situation that he is in. And I think it's going to do him well. It's going to serve him well for him to clean up his plate where he's at before he gets food elsewhere. I just find it very peculiar, the level of adamance on the part of Eddie Hearn, for, pushing Boots and just, trying to get him to go to 154 and things like that. At least in the rhetoric that I've seen in quite a few interviews, he's always motioning towards and leaning toward the 154-pound division and Boots going over there and stuff like that. I'm wondering what the basis of that is. Why wouldn't you want Boots to become undisputed or at the very least a unified champion at 147 before making such decisions? And trust me, I am somebody who vouched for Boots to go to 154. And of course, I want to see the Crawford fight. I want to see him against EJ. I want to see him against Tim Tszyu. I want to see him against the best. I am for the best fighting the best. So I want to see all of that. But, it's like Eddie Hearn is trying to bypass a solidification of Boots Ennis at 147. He doesn't want him to kind of claim a crown. And I just don't like the way that he is seeming to want to uproot Boots before he really claims a place in boxing and solidifies a level of accreditation that is owed and due to him that he needs in order to have success wherever he goes in boxing, the further he goes in boxing, up in weight classes and what have you. He needs a crown in order to have that level of esteem and respect. He needs to be crowned in front of the world. And 147 is his division. Why not let him be crowned in his division? And that way, he can take the respect with him the further he goes, no matter what weight class he's entering in. He would have solidified kingship already. Okay, that would demand a level of respect, would demand and certify, a respect for his resume and who he took the crown from and so forth and so on. That is necessary for a fighter. Until he achieves that, he is basically still being built as a fighter, Boots Ennis. You know what I'm saying? We don't want to consider Boots Ennis, just a mere champion that was elevated. No, he has to be crowned. And even though he is IBF champion and stuff like that, and he made his first title defense finally, and it's good to see that he is in the motion of that and having had the experience of defending a title, no matter what you may think of his performance, he has that experience now. He needs more of that. And he also needs the stamp of approval that only can come from snatching the belt off of the waist of another champion. He needs to do that. So, what's wrong with him eating the food that's in front of him and dominating the weight class that he's in before going for other prey elsewhere? Why wouldn't Boots be allowed to do the very thing that all other types of fighters have done with no such lashings or castigation from the boxing public? Why can't he do the very thing that Earl did, that Bud did, that Canelo, Devin Haney, and a mass of other fighters have done, right? Which is to claim unification or, of course, the highest title of undisputed. Why can't Boots do that? Why is he not given the grace to do the same thing, to walk in that same path of greatness? Can Boots at least unify 147 before hauling his ass to another division? Like, can he accomplish that? What is this rush about that I am hearing from people? It does not compute to me at all. I don't understand why he is not being given the same type of grace. He's actually being called a duck because it's a possibility that he wants to follow through with his original objective and unify and claim undisputed. He's a duck for wanting to be undisputed? It's just, you cannot make this make sense to me, you guys. Boots Ennis is being called a duck because he wants to conquer his division? Is this real? Is this the logic that is at hand right now? The going theme and narrative? He's a duck because he wants to eat the prey at his weight class? Somebody has to explicate this to me. I don't get it. How the fuck can you be ducking somebody who isn't, first of all, even in your weight division? I get the fact that they were in talks supposedly, and for whatever reason, the deal wasn't materialized. It could possibly be because he wanted to stick to his original goal. There's also a possibility that myriad other factors played a role in that. But for whatever reason, it did not materialize. How the fuck can he be called a duck? It's not like he's evading everybody around him. You know what I'm saying? Is 147 not up for grabs? We didn't even get any official confirmations from Team Boots, as to what led to the dematerialization of that negotiation or whatever they were doing, whatever talks were, at hand with the Ortiz team. We don't know what's going on, but automatically the assumption is that Boots ducked, as if he isn't plenty capable of, taking 147 by storm and claiming his space there, right? What's the problem? Is Boots looking around him and pointing out all the people that he doesn't want smoke with? No. Has he all of a sudden changed his tune and said things like, oh, he doesn't want to fight the biggest fights that could be made? No, he hasn't stopped saying that. So what's the sensitivity about, y'all? There are huge fights for him to be had at 147. Fights that would be absolutely ridiculous for him to bypass. Okay? He got to take care of business where he's at. And, I say all of this not even knowing that, let's say, since the Virgil Ortiz fight is, off the table at the moment, that isn't to say that he isn't still going to fight somebody at 154. We don't know. We don't know anything. Nothing has been confirmed. You know what I'm saying? But I am just rearing the attention back, to the original goal and the original aim that he shared with everyone, which is that he wants to become undisputed. And the reason for my doing so is to remind people of that particular mindset that there is nothing wrong with being undisputed. If the man decides to stay at 147 and take care of that business, he has every right to. How has it become a thing to berate a fighter because they want to clean out their prey at their division? How the hell did those two get correlated? How are they one and the same now? Duckery for wanting to clean out your division if that is the case with him. Let's say he's not interested in going to 54 as of yet. You know what I'm saying? Let's say he actually is saying, let me clean out 147. What the fuck is the problem? How the hell does that equate to duckery? It just does not make sense to me. Nothing can make it make sense to me. What is the mindset and the perspective that I see going around, you guys? That's what a fighter should be doing. They should be aiming at least to unify within their division. You know what I mean? At least unify once. At least have that experience. At least claim that space. You cannot claim supremacy and at the same time bypass the kings around you. Boots is no less on demon time by staying at 147 to demolish the competition there and snatching their strap. He's no less on demon time for wanting to do that. In fact, that makes him a killer to me. That makes him a killer, a certified killer, to say, nah, we're going to eat all this food. My division and above and wherever else. All that says to me is that he's a fighter that wants to finish what he starts. What fight fan in their right mind could have a problem with that? Who can take real issue with that? Yeah, go ahead, put him in the ring with Barrios. I want to see that head taken clean off his neck. Go ahead and feed Stanley Ennis to Boots while you at it. And after that, line B. Norman the fuck up so he can get his head taken off too. I want the smoke. That's the type of demon time that I like to see. Have all of those champs in there battle it out. But either way, straps got to be taken and supremacy has to be claimed in that division. And in every division within boxing, I'm beginning to wonder now that since there's such a stalemate, for example, let's say at the worst division currently in boxing, which is 135, but that happens to house one of the most popular fighters in boxing, Gervonta Tank Davis, I'm wondering if his stagnant energy and behavior within boxing as a whole in these past several years, him not making any attempts to unify, him not making any attempts to fight the best, that now this is now being applied to every fighter. That it's okay to not unify. It's okay to remain stale and idle in your division without claiming any type of space, without actually certifying yourself as a reigning king within your division. Is that what people would rather see? Stale kings? Since when is it okay for a king to play a pawn? Lord have mercy, the goddamn kings done changed places with the pawns. They done swapped out positions. What's going on in boxing? Is this the energy that has people castigating Boots now? The fact that that particular fight is off and they think that somehow maybe this is a sign that he is afraid to venture into 154. I don't know what people are thinking. But what they are not thinking is the fact that legacy is a territory game. You've got to claim territory and you've got to do it in spectacular fashion in order to solidify your spot. Let Boots Ennis show and prove who he is. Right? We know he's a phenomenal, fantastic fighter. We want to see him venture. We want to see him grow. Of course, we want to see him expand. Let him show and prove what he is capable of. Let him claim his crown each time against the champions within 147, and then we'll see him take it up a level and a level and a level in whatever other division he is interested in. 54 ain't going no goddamn where. Trust that. Okay? If he wants to remain on the course of his original objective of becoming undisputed, so be it. That's what we should be backing and pushing our fighters to do. Right? As long as he's contending with the best around him, what the fuck are we really complaining about? Everybody should be on smoke notice. That's his mindset. And as long as Boots has that mindset, I'm rocking with the king. Okay? A lion makes a kill, but he only does it one kill at a time. But that does not mean that the whole terrain isn't up for grabs. Let's sit back and watch what happens. But I'm definitely interested in seeing the next moves, of course, from Boots Ennis. I'm definitely keeping a close eye and magnifying glass on Mr. Eddie Hearn. Now that the Karen rematch is out of the way, there is no reason for him not to be aligning up the fights with the rest of the champions within that division. Okay, Stanley Ennis should absolutely be next. Any one of those champions. Barrios, line him the fuck up. There should only be championship fights for Boots Ennis from here on out. And whenever 54 is on the horizon for him, I'm riding with the king, period. But yes, let's get these unifications popping, undisputed. If that's on the table, snatch that shit up and let's get this business handled. You know what I mean? Anyway, that's it for me, y'all. I'm on to the next. Peace.